Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I didn't think twice when Emily said she'd be working late. She said it casually, the way people do when it's routine, when it's not supposed to mean anything. We'd been married 11 years. Late nights weren't new. Deadlines, meetings, last-minute reports. I nodded, told her I'd be out for a while myself. A quick drink with Mark after work. Nothing dramatic. Just information shared, like always. She looked up from her phone when I said where I'd be. Really looked, not just a glance. That bar near the river? She asked. I said yes. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and went back to typing. That was it. Or so I thought. The bar was loud in the way places try to be on purpose. Music just a little too high. Conversations overlapping. Glasses clinking nonstop. Mark was already there, nursing his second beer, complaining about his boss like he always did. I listened, nodded, laughed in the right places. I checked my phone once. No messages. Good. Normal. About 30 minutes in, Mark went to the restroom. I stayed at the bar, staring at the muted TV overhead. Some game I wasn't following. That's when my phone buzzed. A notification from a number I didn't recognize. No name, just a local area code. I almost ignored it, assuming spam. Then it buzzed again. Same number. The message was short. You might want to look behind you. I felt a flicker of irritation. Some kind of joke. I turned halfway on my stool, scanning the room. Nothing unusual. Groups of friends. A couple arguing quietly in the corner. A woman laughing too loudly near the jukebox. No one looking at me. I turned back, frowning. Another message came through. Left side, 2 booths back. This time, something tightened in my chest. I didn't turn immediately. I told myself not to be dramatic. Still, my eyes shifted first, then my head. 2 booths back, on the left side of the bar, partially hidden by a wooden divider, sat Emily. For a second, my brain refused to place her. Like seeing someone you know in a dream. She wasn't wearing her work blazer. Her hair was down, loose in a way she never bothered with on office days. She was leaning toward a man I'd never seen before. Close. Too close. Her hand rested on the table near his, fingers brushing his knuckles when she laughed. I sat frozen, heart pounding so hard I could hear it over the music. I told myself there was an explanation, a co-worker, a client, a coincidence so ridiculous it hurt. Then she tilted her head and smiled at him in a way I hadn't seen directed at me in years. Soft, private, familiar. My phone buzzed again. I'm sorry, the message said. I didn't know how else to tell you. I didn't reply. I couldn't. My hands were shaking. So I set the phone down on the bar and wrapped my fingers around my glass, grounding myself in the cold. Mark came back and started talking, unaware, until he followed my gaze. He went quiet mid-sentence. Oh, he said, just that. No questions. I stood up slowly. Every instinct told me to walk out, to leave without being seen, to process this somewhere else. But my legs moved in the opposite direction. I walked toward the booth, each step heavier than the last. Emily noticed me when I was close enough that there was no pretending. Her face drained of color. The man beside her straightened, confused. Hey, I said. My voice sounded steady, which surprised me. Working late? She opened her mouth, then closed it. I can explain, she said quickly, too quickly. I looked at the man. Who's this? He glanced at Emily, then back at me. I'm Ryan, he said, standing halfway. I didn't know. That makes one of us, I said. Emily reached for my arm, but I stepped back. Don't, I said quietly. She froze, eyes shining, breath shallow. I was going to tell you, she said, just not like this. I nodded once, slowly. When? I asked. She didn't answer. I turned and walked out of the bar without another word, the sound of her calling my name following me into the night, unanswered. I drove without a destination, just letting the streets pull me forward while my thoughts lagged behind. The night felt sharper than it should have, every streetlight too bright. every red light too slow. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I felt hollow, like something essential had been scooped out and replaced with air. When I finally stopped, it was in the parking lot of a 24-hour grocery store. I sat there, engine off, staring at my hands until the shaking stopped. My phone buzzed again. Emily. I ignored it. Then again, and again. I turned the phone face down and leaned my head back against the seat. The truth was already loud enough without her voice layered on top. 30 minutes. That's all it took. 30 minutes after I told her exactly where I'd be, she chose that place, that time, that risk. That wasn't an accident. That was confidence. When I got home, the house was dark. Her car was in the driveway. I went inside, dropped my keys on the counter, and stood in the kitchen listening to the silence. It felt different now, heavier, like it knew something I had just learned. I opened the fridge out of habit, then closed it. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't tired either. I sat at the table and waited. She came in just after midnight. I heard the door before I saw her, the soft click of it opening, the careful way she moved like she was already bracing for impact. She stopped when she saw me sitting there. "You're home," she said unnecessarily. "So are you," I replied. She set her bag down slowly. "I didn't plan for you to find out like that." I nodded. "You planned for me not to." Her eyes filled, but the tears didn't move me the way they once would have. "It wasn't supposed to mean anything," she said. "It just happened." "That's funny," I said, because it looked pretty intentional from where I was standing. She sat across from me, reaching for my hands. I pulled them back. "How long?" I asked. She hesitated. That pause told me everything. "A few months," she said finally. "I was lonely. You were always busy." I almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was familiar. "I told you where I'd be," I said quietly. "You followed me." "I didn't follow you," she said quickly. I knew you'd be out." "Exactly." She broke then, crying openly, apologizing in rushed, tangled sentences. I listened without interrupting. When she finished, I stood up. "I'm not going to fight you," I said. "I'm not going to beg. I'm just done." Her head snapped up. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm not staying in a marriage where respect disappears the moment I leave the room." She said my name like it was an anchor she could still grab. I picked up my keys again. "I'll stay somewhere else tonight," I said. "We'll talk about logistics later." "Please," she whispered. I paused at the door, not turning around. "You already made your choice," I said. "I'm just accepting it." I slept better than I expected on my brother's couch. The next morning, clarity replaced the shock. I knew what needed to happen, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel confused. I felt resolved. Emily texted me later that day, asking if we could fix things. I didn't reply. Some answers don't need words. 30 minutes was all it took to show me who she really was. And that was enough to finally walk away.